Hey guys, welcome back to the Alchemical Oracle. This is Lo, and let's get into it. I am your psychic medium, spiritual teacher, overall trans channeler, and healer, as well as your arc mechanic. And today we're going to talk about how to set your intention for manifestations and how to propel that intention into reality. Now, this is one of the crucial steps in manifestation, and getting your head on right and straight with this is going to shift the way you manifest literally forever. You're going to thank me, and I want to hear them thank yous down in the comments. You feel me? If you like this type of content, definitely hit a like, subscribe so you can get more content like this, and ask your questions down in the comments. Tell me your experiences. If you get a fucking click, okay, that thing just right into place, okay, you received a key, definitely tell us about it down in the comments, because we're a community, not a monologue. You feel me? All right, so first thing here, when you are setting an intention, let's talk about the 3 steps. Okay, now I'm going to talk about these 3 steps in 2 different ways. So our first step is to define our intention. That is us looking and trying to find what we are trying to bring about. What is it that we actually need? What's the problem that needs to be solved? What's the thing that needs to be shifted? Okay, what is the identity or the change that needs to happen? Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking for in step number 1. Step number 2 is going to be assume. Okay, this is us changing the way that we think, the way that we feel about this idea that we are trying to bring about. So this is internal change. We're going to be working in the internal realm, okay? And then in the 3rd step, we are going to go down and we're going to walk through that process that we've done internally on the outside. We're externalizing our work on the inside, outside, to walk into that desired reality. Now, you already know this, but let's dive in a little bit deeper, because I need you to have the full tea. I need you to leave this understanding how to get up and move differently, okay? And step number 1, when we are trying to do that, is define. So when we're talking about defining a process or trying to find out what's going on within, right? What is it, right? And there are 3 things that I'm going to ask you to do at this stage. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, what are your frustrations? What are the things that are just irritating the shit out of you everyday life? Okay, I'm talking about, let's say, for example, you come home from work and you have to cook your meals or you have to order out. It's eating up your budget, but you're just like, man, I gotta do what I gotta do. Let's say every so often you have to clean your house. If you got wood floors and you don't like carpet, and you gotta mop or swift or whiff or whatever the fuck, to make sure your floor is not sticky, it's not dirty when you walk on your floors barefoot, the bottom of your feet not black. You know what I'm talking about, okay? When we're talking about what are your frustrations, what are the things that irritate you? Are you irritated that you have to drive across town? What are you irritated about? Now, I'm giving you some things, some bigger things, but we could even break it down to when you get inside your car. Does your car feel comfortable? When you play your music, does your music sound good? Like when you turn your car to the left, is it stiffer than when you turn your car to the right? Okay, like when you let go of the wheel, does your car kind of lean and you need an alignment? Okay, but you don't really have the money. Is your frustration the fact that you don't have the money to maintain the things that you have the way that you would like to? What are your frustrations? I want you to write those down, okay? Now, in finding your frustrations, sometimes you have to live through it. So I encourage you to keep your frustrations as a running list. Just in a note somewhere, just make this exercise into something that you can keep on you at all times. And just go through a week and list these things out. Like, what are your frustrations? Number 2 is going to be, what are your inconveniences? Okay. So your inconveniences are going to be things that they're not a frustration to do, but it would be nice if you didn't have to do them. For me, one of those frustrations is planning meals. If I didn't have to plan meals or cook meals, because I love to eat, I love to cook, but it just takes so much time out of my day, and like having to make content, having to, try to build other things that I have for you guys coming up. Okay, if you want to learn about those, definitely go down in my link in the bio and subscribe to my email list. Okay, but doing all of the things that I do on a daily basis, as well as taking on clients, working with people in and out of our community, it's a lot. It's a lot. And then I'm also working with the spirits. I have other obligations, and sometimes I just get overwhelmed, and having to do the day-to-day mom things, the homemaker things, are really intense for me. What is that for you? What are the things that you love doing or you don't mind doing, but they add to the overwhelm of your life? Those are your inconveniences, and they could be anywhere. That could be with work. That could be with a car. That could be with landscaping. That could be with having to go shopping for yourself. It could be literally anything. It could be doing your hair. Like, guys, I cut my hair off so that I would not have to do my hair. I was like, look, the easiest way for me to be able to look good and presentable all the time is to be able to throw on a wig, be able to, just go and do what I gotta do. Y'all, I would have been bald if it wasn't for my mom convincing me out of it. Like, when I'm telling you, I was just over it. For me, that was a major inconvenience that turned into a frustration. And once something becomes a frustration with me, it has to be eradicated. So what is it for you? What is that frustration, that inconvenience, right? I want you to take some time for real. Like right now, today, you could literally write down a whole bunch of shit, but I want you to keep this list back here in your phone somewhere, where as you are hitting inconveniences throughout your day, you can write down those. And once you become aware of certain inconveniences and certain frustrations, like, for example, for me, I know that I needed to find a way to work outside of my home. One of my biggest frustrations with work was that I am constantly interrupted by the people I love. And even though I love them and I have an open door policy at home, it's hard to set boundaries with people who love you and they just want to see you. You know what I mean? And it's hard to be like, get the fuck out, because I got shit to do. So I needed to find a place to go work, or to create a different schedule for me able to get things done. Like right now, y'all, it's like 1 a.m. You know what I mean? So figure out what those frustrations and those inconveniences are. And inconveniences can escalate to a frustration. So definitely take note of that, okay? Because if you don't have help with something that's an inconvenience, then, like, let's say, for example, you live with a partner. If your partner isn't contributing to a certain inconvenience, then it can become a frustration because you're the one doing it alone, upkeeping it alone, and months and months and months or years of doing something alone in that way can really just like aggravate the shit out of you. And now it's a complete and utter frustration to get that done. So I want you to just get that idea. If you have roommates, same thing. If you're living with your parents, same shit. You know what I'm saying? It don't shift just because you with different people. It's the type of thing that requires assistance, or that requires you to go outside of yourself for assistance. So I just types of stuff just to bring these. I'm trying to generate your juices right now. Okay. So the third thing to do to define is going to be lifestyle. Now, when we're talking about lifestyle, I want you to identify the lifestyle that you currently are living. Like if you were somewhere else lower than where you are now, what does this lifestyle look like? Okay. What are the benefits and what are the cons of this lifestyle? I want you to write that down. Now, once you have that, and sometimes it takes you going through your week and being like really, really diligent about seeing what are the good things? Because sometimes we take the good things for granted, which is the reason why you can maintain this reality, because you're taking it for granted because you believe that that's what you deserve in the moment. So let's say, for example, you have a loving partner. You are able to get up every morning, go to your favorite coffee shop, and You literally get your nails done, or for my guys, you go get a mani-pedi every 2 to 3 weeks, okay? Just to make yourself feel put together, feel loved. You go get your hair cut, or you go get your hair done on a consistent basis. If you're a lash girly, you're going to go get your lashes done on a consistent basis. Like, and your life is affording you that luxury, right? If you are able to eat out so many times a week, and you love eating at certain spaces, and instead of having to cook, or instead of learning to cook, for some of y'all go ahead and y'all do that, the other way. So what is it that this is really affording you, right? Now, going from, okay, so this is the lifestyle. Now I want you to talk about the cons. What are the things that you wish would be happening in reality that aren't? Okay, let's take a second.
What?
While you do that, I'm gonna just adjust myself. So when we're talking about cons for a lifestyle, we're talking about all the other things that we said in the first 2 steps, but we're also talking about, okay, what are the things that you don't have that you wish you had? Okay, now we're being real. We're not trying to be toxic positive right now. We're not trying to start this toxic positivity shit. In order to understand what you need to be real as fuck with yourself. And sometimes that's really uncomfortable, okay? But do what you gotta do. So tell yourself, okay, what is it I really don't like about this lifestyle? Like, I'll be real with you. Like, every morning I wake up and I go get my favorite coffee, but it does irritate me that I have to budget for that coffee. And if I don't budget correctly, there's a couple of days in a week where I have to skip my coffee in order to be able to order my lunch at work, or be able to get my Uber home if I don't drive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to really understand where are the kinks in your reality that just aren't quite right? I want you to look at your budgeting, okay? What's going on with your finances, okay? Is your finances all willy-nilly up in the air, or is it structured, right? Do you have money to save? Do you have a buoyancy? We're talking about your emergency fund, your rainy day fund, okay? We're talking about, do you have money to invest, whether that's investing in a business, investing in investing in your own business yourself, or investing into stocks or portfolios, or whatever the fuck you got going on, whatever ideas you have. If you want to, for those who are entrepreneurs, do you want to start your own 401k? Do you want to get a Roth oh my God, my brain is not working, but do you want to get a Roth, or do you want to get one of those life insurance policies and try that? Do you want to get into Bitcoin? Like, what's going on with that? And do you have the money that you could set aside for that without dipping into your rainy day fund, right? And that rainy day fund needs to have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses in there. So like, where are you in these buffers with your financial security, your financial mapping? What does that look like? Do you have your account set up in a way where you can't dip and dabble and switch pots whenever things get inconvenient, so that you can stay structured and disciplined in that and consistent in that, okay? What is your credit looking like? Okay, because you really can't do much as a one individual without good credit in this day and age. So what's your credit looking like, and what we gonna do about it? Okay, really trying to get that financial literacy up. What type of things are going on in your relationships? Okay, are all of your relationships very negative, very using, very you giving, and everyone taking, and no one's replenishing you? What are the things that are happening in your life across the board that are a con? Okay, there are always good things that come out of these situations, but we're talking about the cons right now so that you can understand how your life is set up. And then from define, we're going to go to point 2, which is assume. In assume, we're going to be forming a cohesive idea of what it is that we want. Now, we have defined everything, but now we're going to be putting forth a cohesive idea. And the assume is thinking and feeling. So we're going to be attuning ourselves to thinking and feeling in alignment with the idea, the full intention that we are attempting to bring into fruition, okay? Giving that idea momentum to become a full intention that our energetic system can hop into, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is take all of this information that we had in step 1, and now we are going to make a full intention. So the first thing that we're going to do is take list of all the negatives, because those are important. If the negatives aren't solved, then this is irrelevant, okay? If you have the same problems that you had in a past paradigm 2 to 5 years ago, like, that's gonna irritate the shit out of you. So you need to be able to grow in those areas, or to be removed from those areas, or to get some boundaries, or whatever needs to happen in order for you to get up off that shit. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, so from there, we are taking all the negatives. So we're taking your frustrations, your inconveniences, and all your cons that you came up with in the lifestyle exercise. Now we're gonna put all of those into one list. Now I want you to make all of those things a positive affirmation. So I want you to see the problem, and I want you to make it a positive affirmation. So let's say, for example, you don't have enough money every month to pay your rent, okay? And what you want is to have an ample amount of funds, okay, to pay your rent. So instead of saying, I want money, or I wish I had more money, you're gonna start having these affirmations that you're gonna say to yourself. So instead of in the moment when you're running low on funds and saying, I really can't buy that right now, like I can't afford that, you're now saying, I choose not to spend my money on that at this time. Even if you don't have the money, the point is that you're choosing not to spend, versus I am in lack, therefore I cannot spend, right? We're changing the way that we think about that item. So that affirmation may be, money is coming to me in all ways, always, right? So money is coming to me in all ways, always. And that allows for every avenue that money can come to you to open up. Let's talk about, then we could also add another one. All of my needs and necessities are paid with ease. And I'm getting like this, are paid with ease. Yeah. I wanted to say something else, but it just wasn't coming to me. So I think that's where we're going to start with, stay with. Okay. Now, as we are defining all of these, now I know this is a lot of work, but what I'm trying to do is get you to reframe your negatives into positives, okay? And then we are going to, now this is a key tip right here. I want you to record a video of you saying all these affirmations to yourself. Now, don't just be, oh, you know, life is beautiful. Like, I want you to get yourself into the energy of all of these things are solved. Every problem that I have is gone. And I want you to say these affirmations on the video to yourself, like you are speaking to, like you're God speaking to yourself. I want you to be happy, joyful in the energy of those things being solved, and just read them out, really expressed, really in that energy, really enlivened, you know what I mean? Like, exaggerate, you know, just like open yourself up and get really into it. Now, you're going to listen to those every day when you wake up in the morning, and that's going to help you be a little bit more consistent than having to read it every day, okay? Now that you have listed those affirmations, I'm going to put that to the side, and I'm going to ask you to now turn those affirmations into ask-affirmations. So these affirmations are going to be something like, we could stick with our original example with bills. How is it How is it that I'm so abundant, my bills are paid in advance? How is it that my lifestyle is just so abundant that I could do whatever I please, whenever I please, without needing to worry about my necessities being paid for? I want you to start saying, and then get that list of each affirmation turning into affirmations. There's a few videos right now on YouTube with affirmations. It's not a lot of them, but you can get an idea of how to formulate one. And then from these two lists, I want you to make videos of your affirmations and your affirmations together. So we're gonna have two separate videos, right? And in the morning, you're gonna listen to your affirmations as soon as you wake up, as you're getting ready for your day, pee, poop, whatever you gotta do, brush your teeth, do your hair, whatever. And then before you go to sleep, as you are winding down, you're getting into bed, I want you to listen to these affirmations. And affirmations can be very good, as well as some things like it's safe to be abundant. Things that you know you have blockages for, you can include in it. This is safe type of affirmation to put into your subconscious at night. Okay, because we're programming our subconscious to look for avenues at night with our affirmations on how to achieve what we're stating in the morning. So we're saying, how is it so great that blah, 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 to be so abundant, to be able to pay things in advance, to be able to not have to worry about anything. My worries are, how is it that I'm so worry free? And then you could say, it's so safe for me to be completely at ease in my day to day. It's so safe for me to be abundant. It's so safe for me to have money. It's so safe for me to be making double the amount of said dollar amount that I'm making every month. It's so safe for me to have my first $10,000 month. It's so safe for me to have my first $20,000. It's so safe for me to make $10,000 a month. It's so safe for me to make $20,000 a month. Whatever those things are that you're striving for. I'm just randomly coming up with stuff, and it's easy. It's just easy for me to just go from like whatever the randomest things coming up to my mind. But think about these ideas, and I want you to just talk about how it's safe, because some things you do have an initial cringe to, and you can tell with certain affirmations when you're saying them, like your morning affirmations, what brings you the most shame, guilt, or cringe factor, whatever that is, and then add a safe to that. So like if you're like, money comes to me always, always. If you have a bunch of negative thoughts that come right after that, I need you to put, it is safe for money to come to me in all ways, always. I am always provided for by the Creator, and it's safe for me to receive that abundance. All right, so now we have this structure. This is right here is going to be a reprogramming system for the new operating system that you're programming into this new personality that you're about to assume, okay? So I'm going to put that right here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take all of the good things that are talking about in your reality, and we're going to level them up. So we are going to look at all of the problems that you had. Now we have that. Now we're going to start talking about, okay, what are the good things and how can we level them up? What's the next level with the solutions from the previous level? So I'll give you an example. Like I absolutely just hate cleaning. My partner, when we moved in together, I told him, I was like, I'm not a cleaner. I don't like cleaning, but I am like super like OCD about stuff. But I'm like the type of OCD where it's like, I could be really nitpicky about cleaning, but then I could also like find anything in a jumbled mess. And when things are clean, I can't find shit. You know what I mean? So like, I need a clean environment, but I can't consistently be required to be cleaning all the time, or that would just be all I do all day. So we have been together for a really long time, but more recently we've been able to hire somebody because we have the money to have somebody come in and clean every once in a while. Then it became more frequent. So I want you to understand that if that's something that you have, it's not as unaffordable as you think. So I need you to start thinking about, okay, well, if I can't clean up my house consistently and I need a little bit more help with doing this or doing laundry or whatever, I could outsource that. Let me look up in my area how much that's going to cost for my home, how much that's going to cost for, you know, whatever I need to be done. Like, let's say, for example, you only really have about 3 loads a week that need to be washed. So you could have somebody come in once a week, wash all of your clothes, fold them, and then you could put them away. You could also have someone come in every 2 weeks and wash your clothes. You got enough clothes to last you 2 weeks and still have something to wear, right? What do you need help with, right? We could talk about, okay, maybe you need help with getting your business together and you don't know how to edit things, or you're tired and you're overwhelmed and you're frustrated, and you know you have to do all these other things in your business, but this one thing is really, you know, hurting you. You could outsource that to somebody. You could give it to somebody who actually likes doing that shit, because you don't like doing that shit. Do you know what I'm saying? So be willing to delegate and to pay people what they're worth so that they can fucking help you, because you need the help, okay? And understand that even if you can't afford it right now, understanding how much it could cost will allow you to push yourself over those boundaries that you're going to have to work through in order to be able to afford those things. So let's say you come out to, okay, these are the pros. These are the things that I want to elevate in my life. I want to be able to elevate, you know, my work, my annual income. I want to be able to own my own business, or I want to be able to increase my revenue, or whatever the thing is that you're manifesting. I want you to just understand that this isn't just, what I want you to understand is everything affects everything, because law of oneness, everything is together. So what I want you to understand is, let's say, for example, you're coming in with the intent to create an intention around your business. I want you to understand that everything that is connected to your business, including you and your lifestyle, needs to be a part of that vision. So let's say, for example, if you're a business owner and right now your business is grossing something like, give me a number, spirit, $150K a year, your take home pay is probably maybe like 50 at the most right now, because you're putting so much, you're reinvesting so much money back into your business, right? But let's say, for example, the amount of take home money that you're taking home is not stretching, right? Is not stretching the way that it needs to stretch. Like, you're not able to adequately afford your rent or your mortgage and your bills, and you're not able to adequately afford like buying consistently. Like, your lifestyle's a little bit stretched too thin, and then maybe you want to increase, or you want to double your revenue next year. You want to be making $300,000 versus $150,000. So now you're trying to say, okay, well, I need to elevate my own income to be able to afford the lifestyle that I need to be consistent with. I'm not going to stair step my lifestyle. I need to make it more comfortable for myself. So how do I make my lifestyle more comfortable? Well, I'm going to increase my pay. What percentage am I going to increase that? Okay, so now I need to elevate. Okay, now I need to extrapolate how much my business makes based on how much time I'm going to buy back through delegating in my business, and then adjust the numbers accordingly, right? But what I want you to understand is that includes a lot of things. Like, let's say, for example, if you're making that $150K, you're a single mom, you have no help, maybe like your mom, or you don't have a partner, but you have like minimal help. So you have like your parents or your mom or somebody that watches your kid, your sister, brother, whatever, watches your kid every once in a while for you, or on the weekends or whatever, it's for you to get some free time. But for the most part, you're doing business during daytime hours when your kid is at school or at daycare. But when you come home, there's like, you're having to split your focus between work and being a mom, and it's really hard. So what your main focus is like, I want to have time for my kid to be able to spend time with them without thinking about work. I need to be able to turn work off. But in order to turn work off, I need to expand the amount of time that I'm able to work and be focused, right? And be focused and consistent and diligent. But I need to not be interrupted all the time. So maybe I need to extend my work day, maybe 2 or 3 hours. But the issue with that is that my child gets out of school at 3, or I have to pick them up from daycare at 1 o'clock, right? So you have a really small window to work, but if you could expand that, you could be a lot more productive. You can make a lot more money more consistently. What we're talking about is being able to afford some type of daycare or some type of nannying service or some type of co-op nannying service that could watch your kids after they get out of whatever they're in, right? And then you need to understand, okay, well, if I can't afford an actual nanny or I can't afford extended daycare, maybe I could pay one of my little cousins, or maybe I could pay such and such to watch my kid every day, Monday through Friday from this time to this time, and that'll give me that extension that I need. And maybe I'll tell him, okay, well, I could do hair, so right now I'm not gonna be able to pay you a decent amount for right now, but what I can do is I can swap for you doing this for me, and I could do your hair every other week or something like that on Friday evening when I get off, when I'm done working, or whatever the thing is that you can do to assist somebody, and maybe y'all could do a swap. But what I'm trying to say is you gotta figure out a way to make it work so that you can get what you need, right? But everything affects everything else. And that's what I'm trying to explain right now, is that if you're focused on one area and you think that only that one area needs to change, you are being delusional as fuck in a bad way. And you need to delete that delusion, because that delusion is the reason why you're stuck. First of all, there is nothing that you can do in your business that's not going to affect your personal life. Okay, so first of all, that's just one. There's nothing that you can't do towards your partner or towards your relationship or toward having a relationship or partner, whatever, that's not gonna affect everything else in your life. Hanging out with your best friends, going out clubbing, being able to shop and do stuff, being able to have free money, like having money that's free that you could just go spend frivolously because now you're in a partnership. So now y'all are splitting things, it might make things easier, or they may take on the bulk of things, but you need to understand that money is going to be shifted. The way that you interact with people outside of that relationship is going to be shifted. The way that you're going to be able to move from point A to point B throughout the week is going to be very different. The times that you're going to come home are going to be very different if you're in a relationship, if y'all are living together, if y'all get married. And that needs to be a mental emotional shift. Does that make sense? If you're operating in the consciousness of single, but you want somebody to commit and give you a ring, then that means that you need to shift your mindset, the way that you're thinking about things, the way that you're moving, the way that you're acting, whatever, from being single to being a committed person, to being somebody who's married before you get married. Because if you wait till you marry, then it's going to be really intense. You ever heard people get married and after they get out the honeymoon stage, all they do is argue? You know what I'm saying? Their life is just a fucking mess, okay? And that's because they never took the time to become unsingle and to come and become married before they got married. The mindset never shifted. So they're unable to maintain that reality of happy, blissful together, because they have to come into that alignment, come into that commitment within themselves to be committed to somebody else, to look at them a certain way, to move with them a certain way. And that needs to shift. Does that make sense? Everything in your life is affecting everything else, right? So you need to understand, like, if you're married and you're making a work decision, you need to talk to this person, especially if this work decision on the back end is going to affect them. For example, if you're used to going to sleep every night with your partner, being with them on a consistent basis, and you get offered a job that causes you to travel at least once every 60 days for more than a month to 2 weeks at a time, and you're going to be away from your partner, that's a together decision, right? Because even though it's about you, this person is going to be left alone. That is inherently not only going to affect the relationship as a whole, but your relationship with them, because that could be seen without talking to them as a mode to feeling abandoned, right? So we want to understand how to move in these situations as we're escalating out, and to think about them as well. So these are the things I want you to map out an entire lifestyle, okay? As we are coming into, okay, these are the things that need to be fixed. These, like, you have all of your real painstaking things. Now I want you to focus in on the thing that really is annoying the shit out of you, because that's the one that you came here for. That's the idea you have in your mind right now. That's the idea that we first started with. Now I want you to put that in the middle of like a little diagram, right? And then I want you to push out how that affects. So I'll give you an example. So like when I'm unable to have my alone time to record and to do my shit, and people consistently walk in the room, consistently distract me, consistently come in here when the door is locked, and you unlock the door and you come in anyway, you're passing the boundary of that threshold while I'm trying to work. I get frustrated, and when I get frustrated, what I do, I get short. And when I get short, how do I act? I act mean as fuck, and then I get real spicy. Not very demure, I tell you. And then get saucy than a motherfucker. Feel like you got struck by lightning. Get the fuck out, right? And so then that is hitting my people around me. And because I'm unable to make a solid boundary in the space that I'm in, I have to now make those boundaries. I have to now create separation. I have to now figure out how to make that work, right? But the first thing that I need to do before I set those intentions, or I figure out a system to put in motion, or I figure out ways to do what I need to do, the first thing that I'm going to do is see the problem. What is the problem? Okay. Good. I love my family, but the problem is I don't have any separation. I don't have any space to be myself, to know myself, to do my business, whatever, right? The second thing is, like, I'm easily distracted, which in tandem with being always walking in on and easily distracted, I'll quickly forget what I'm doing. It's hard for me to come back. So like I'm listing all these problems that I have, and then I'm saying, okay, well, here's a strategy for me to take 1 to 2 and then slap them together and be like, okay, so for me to get from point 1 to point 2, I'm gonna need to first create boundaries, create space in the environment I'm in, to then specify specific time periods when I'm going to work, when I'm going to do it, why I'm doing it, how long it's going to take, and notify everyone around me until I have my own space, right? And then boom, okay, now I've achieved that. And now people respect my space. And when I say I'm recording, people get out. People be quiet. People not running up and down the hall making a bunch of noise. Sometimes that still happens. People don't flush the toilet right across the street, right across the hall from my office while I'm recording. You see what I'm saying? Like little things like that just will throw me off, irritate me, blah, blah, blah. So then I'm like, boom. So now I can find a place where I can go and work in certain times of the day to make it easier on the people that I live with. Boom. So now I'm doing this. Da 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 da. So as you see, it's stair-stepping its way to my desired reality, which is to have a space where I could do my business, do what I need to do, and then have that separation, and then be able to get work done, to escalate my business, blah, 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 blah. And at the same time, still maintain my relationships, not be as irritated, not be as pointed, not be as me. So And that's going to be the same for you. What are those things? And then understand that it's a scope around that. Everyone that interacts with you throughout the day is a part of that interaction. Okay. Now, as we are doing all of these things, we are practicing law of assumption, which is assuming that the reality that we have now came to as a structure is happening, right? So what is that idea that you want? What is the lifestyle around it, and how are things going to change? You know all your pain points. So now all you need to do is stick all the pain points onto however it's affecting you and all the initial inconveniences that are around that thing. Now that you have that idea, now you're going to take that and then you're going to move it into scripting, right? Scripting is a way that you can practice law of assumption, which is basically you're going to write down as if it's the day, the very day that shit fully comes into fruition, and you realize it and you're just like, oh, I'm so grateful, blah, 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 blah. This is just amazing, da, 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 da. This is happening, this is happening, this is happening. I received this. Oh my God, my car is so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Whatever those things are, you're going to write them down as if it's happening right now, how grateful you are for it. Be very positive, okay? Then you're gonna write that down in your journal and you're gonna read that every so often, because that's gonna be your why and that's gonna keep you on it, okay? Then we're going to be practicing law of cause and effect. Now, law of cause and effect is about doing one thing and then something else happening as an effect. For you, doing your affirmations and your affirmations at night are your cause. Then your effect is going to be the change in your mind and the way that you feel about certain things, right? The assimilation of the knowledge and the programming that you're giving yourself in order to change the programming that you're currently operating at. Then law of compensation. Now we're reprogramming the way the cause and effect affects your money. Okay, so we're going to start talking about law of compensation. Like if your stuff revolves around money, then you're going to start shifting your law of cause and effect of compensation for money versus whatever you're abundant in. So let me give y'all an example, because like my family, we are very abundant in food. Okay, we are abundant in shit in food. I tell you, you come into my house, there is no way that there is not a full pantry and a full fridge and there is not food in there to eat. There is not a full freezer. Like, that's just my fam. Like, we will never be without food. We could be broke as shit and still host a cookout because everything is literally here. I don't need to go shopping. I don't need shit. Everything is here and it's always gonna be some shit here. And that's just the abundance my family has, right? So you want to shift the overwhelm of that abundance. Now, if you're the type of person where you always got food, but your food go bad in the fridge, that means that it's time for you. Your abundance is building up in an area where it's no longer useful. So you need to divide that and push it toward, let's say, for example, your business or money or income or elevating in your career or whatever the case may be. You're going to shift it into what you're doing right now. Whatever thing you're trying to bring about, you're shifting that into this, and then you're building things around it for it to move through. So you're saying, okay, well, my lifestyle is going to change like this because I'm going for this, and then all of these things are going to be solved, and because they're going to be solved, I don't have this type of worry, I don't have this type of frustration, I don't have this type of guilt, shame, whatever going on. And then that's going to help me bloom as a person, and that's going to allow me to get more comfortable in this area, and it's going to allow me to be more authentic here, and it's going to allow me to delegate more over here. And as you're kind of expanding this vision out, then you're going to be able to say, you know, I like how this looks. I like how this looks. And as you're doing that, you're coming into law of attraction, because now you have aligned yourself to a certain energy. Your thoughts, your emotions are now in the like of the vibration of the attuned intention that you have created. And now you are mentally, internally, you're working through any type of blocks. And now you're working in tandem with law of attraction, because now law of attraction is going to start shifting your reality, and you're going to start seeing types of people, places, situations, and things come up in your life And it's going to be like, man, what the fuck? A thing after a thing after a thing. But those things are identifying what's the problem in your life that's stopping you from getting what you need. Like, for example, if you always feel like you don't have enough money, but then you start realizing, oh, your cousin called you like every 2 months to ask you for $500. And then this person call you every couple weeks to ask you, can you loan them $50, $100, $20, right? And this person da-da-da-da, and this person da-da-da-da. Like, you start realizing that it's not that you don't have enough money, it's that you're giving all of your money away, and then therefore you don't have enough money for your own comfort. And you're starting to realize, like, I'm not giving them what I have left over, I'm giving them what I have. Okay? These are the things that kind of need to be like adjusted and seen differently. Okay? I'm just saying, okay? So get these things locked in for yourself. Now we're going to move into step 3, which is walking in. Now this one is very hard, okay? Because this one can take quite a while, okay? When you're manifesting, step 1 and step 2 can happen in tandem, and they can happen within a day, a month, a week, 6 months, and you could start seeing small results, small shifts in your life that can have a big impact, but they're still small things. Now, walking in is you shifting reality to reality to reality, and this has to do with law of vibration, and everything has a vibration. And so as you are working through those things, as law of attraction is working with you, you are then shifting and changing and growing, right? And so what I want you to do is understand that law of vibration is requiring you to elevate to a certain vibrationatory state. Now, this isn't about being low vibrational, high vibrational right now. That shit don't matter. It's about, are you at the vibration that radiates the idea, the intention that you have? So, and you don't have to be a good person or a bad person to figure this out. You just need to be able to maintain it. So let's say, for example, you want to be a rich bitch, okay? And that's your intention. I'm just saying random shit, y'all. But let's say you want to be a rich bitch, and then you're like, okay, but then what you're really realizing is that as you are, going through the stuff of being a rich bitch, you're like, oh, I don't want to be a rich bitch, because rich bitches deal with rich bitch shit. You know what I'm saying? They dealing with dudes who probably be scamming and shit, who be on that bullshit. Like, they be cheating and shit because they got bread to do so, whatever. So then you realizing, I don't want to be a rich bitch. I want to be a wealthy bitch. I want to be a wealthy woman, right? I'm no longer considering myself in this type of idea. I'm going to shift my manifestation into this type of idea. And they're very close to each other. And it's so close, but they're not the same. The type of person that you're going to be with, the way that they're going to treat you is going to be different. The way that you're going to treat yourself is going to be different. The luxuries that you can achieve are going to be different. And the way that you file your taxes is going to be different. You know what I'm saying? Everything is going to be very different from being here to being there. So you want to kind of, as you are going through these law of attraction things, you're also going to see things that, previous you could not see because it wasn't living that life, but now you're living that life, so you can make subtle changes to your intention as you are going through the law of attraction phase. When you shift out of that into the walking in, your intention is as solid as it's ever going to get, okay? This is you giving it to the universe and saying, okay, show me which way to go. Show me which way to walk. Show me what I need to do. Show me where I need to go. And I'm going to just do that. So at this point, you're going to have some large goals, some large milestones that are going to align with certain things that you want inside of your intention. Then you're going to have small goals, behavioral goals that you're going to be meeting. Now, your behavioral goals will have mental goals associated with them. So let's say, for example, like when I first started my healing journey, one of my biggest things was I wanted to have a business that literally could carry me, so I could afford all the shit that I wanted, and I could do all the shit that I wanted to do, and I could travel, and I could have fun, and I could help people, and I could do all the things that kind of like all the things that Spirit has put on my heart. And I have a lot of shit that Spirit has put on my heart that I want to go and execute. And so in order to execute that, I need the funds, right? But I also don't just need the funds. I need the connections, because the connections are more important than the funds, because through connections, I can acquire funds. Through connections, I can get the resources that I need. Okay. And resources are highly important. So I need you to understand that when you are manifesting not just a lifestyle, but you're telling Spirit, lay it into place. So when I walk into the room, everything fall in line. And when you're saying fall it in line, it's coming in, right? So now you're starting your law of action. You're saying, I do this, law of cause and effect equal that. I do this, law of compensation equal that. Like, and sometimes it means that you're going to be doing some shit for a long fucking time before you see the effect. But that shit don't matter. If in your mind you solid on this intention and you say, I'm a fucking grind, nigga. I'm going to do that shit. I'm not going to be that negative ass hustle shit. I'm going to go sit down, take care of myself if I need to. If I'm sick, I'm going to take a couple of days off. If I'm tired, I'm going to take a nap, bitch. But don't shade me, because make sure, like, by the end of the day, nigga, I'm going to get my ass up and I'm going to handle my business. Like, I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to make sure that shit's going to shake regardless. And even when I'm down, I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep taking steps every fucking day until I get to where the fuck I want to be. And that's the thing. Like, you got to keep going. You can't stop. Because if you stop your momentum, okay? Your momentum can only push you for a certain amount of time. And after that, even if you, like, whatever you stop, it's gonna stop. So let's say, for example, you stop working for 2 weeks. And y'all, I've done this. So like, you stop working for 2 weeks, but you're not mentally moving it and you're not emotionally moving it while you stop working. You just stopped all manifestation of it, period. Everything in your life has stopped and you just sitting down being quiet for 2 weeks. When you get up out of that and you start trying to get back into that momentum, even if it's easy for you to hop back in it, it's gonna be like shaking off cobwebs. It's gonna be a slow road. You're not gonna be able to hop back in it like you did, like you was doing this shit 2 days ago, 3 days ago, a week ago. You know what I'm saying? It just don't work like that because the momentum has slowed. So now you gotta ramp it back up. And ramping some momentum back up, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, is the most annoying shit. But you know what you can do? You could mentally work on that shit every day. Okay, the days that you're not doing anything, you can mentally sit down in meditation 5 minutes a day, focusing on your intention, focusing on what needs to happen in order for you to get to this goal or to finish this work or whatever. 5 minutes a day, then cut it off. That's going to allow your momentum to still be moving, even if it's not perfect. Okay, so now as you're doing your action, as you're in law of vibration, now you're in tandem with law of attraction. You're seeing the direct correspondences with what you're doing, which is your law of cause and effect, right? So now you're seeing everything. You're seeing it. You're seeing it. You're seeing it. You're seeing the law of assumption work for you. You're seeing it in small ways, but it's working, right? Now you're going to activate your law of perpetual transmutation. Now, when you're in stage 3, walking in, you are in the stage of knowing. You're assuming the identity of who you're about to become with the thing, the place, the whatever that you are trying to attract. You're assuming that identity and you're walking through the steps of assuming and becoming that person who can receive it, right? So I need you to understand this. The person that you become with this identity shift is the person who can maintain it. Now, Spirit said to give you this nugget. One thing about identity building, which is what we're doing right now, this is the most effective way to manifest. Many people will give you all types of shit to manifest, and that shit will manifest and then it will quickly go the fuck away. You will not be able to maintain that for years and years and years. And the reason why is because it's not based on anything. It's not sitting on top of anything. There's no foundation. There ain't shit. So when you get that shit, you have it for a little bit. You might, like, let's say for example, you get a car. You might have a really nice car, but because you didn't build the shit mentally, emotionally, physically, the habits, the ideas, you didn't build your money right so that you could pay for the maintenance, your car get fucked up, and guess what? That shit sitting in the shop. You got a nice car, but you can't be seen in it because that shit is in the shop, right? You you don't have the means. Now, the difference between that and having the means is this. You could literally have what you need, do what you need, get to where you need to go with how you need to be, right? But spirit is, oh my God, can y'all just slow down? Christ, I'm trying to get it out here. You're assuming this identity, and identities are like mass, right? They're like ego structures. Ooh, that's a good one. Like, it's like your ego is like what keeps your personality intact to your spirit, right? So what you're saying is you're doing an ego upgrade, right? You need your ego to get a new mass and to be a healthier version. So now you're assuming all of these things to create the personality that goes over your spirit that say, bam, this is more in alignment with us now, and we're upgrading this. You're removing the ego. You're saying, okay, I could work with you or I can't work with you. If you can't work with you, throw that bitch away. You building a new one. And sometimes it's like, I'm working with you and I'm gonna upgrade you. Sometimes you could upgrade your ego, especially if you just got into the version of yourself that you are now. That's an upgrade. But when you completely leave that bitch in the past, that's a goodbye moment. And now you're rejuvenating, recreating, rebuilding a new version of yourself. And that version is the one who can maintain the lifestyle that you want, the car that you want, this idea that you created. And that version of you is going to be the one who is going to end at the place that you want to be. Like my past self, y'all, she was scared to get on camera. She was scared to talk. She didn't have the words to figure out what to say, how to get what spirit was telling her, the download she had and the knowledge she had out of her mouth in a way that people could understand, unless she was in person and she had the time to talk to them. I'm trying to tell you, and still here, like I'm talking to you, but these videos is long as fuck. And you know what? I don't give a fuck anymore. But the one thing I do know is that if she never made that intention for me to have my shit together right now, I would not be here. I would not be here. I'd probably be sitting on a couch somewhere feeling like, it just wasn't for me. But it is for me, bitch. And my past self made sure of that shit. And I'm trying to teach you how you can be that self that you could look back and say, thank you, past self. You fucking did that shit for me. You made that shit shake for me. You know what I'm saying? And you could honor yourself because you know what you did for yourself. You know how you helped yourself get to where you at. And this is what I'm saying. At this point, you are not best friends with the future you. And at this point, everything that you're doing in this video, you're putting into contandom, you're building her. You're building him right now. You're building them. They are in your hands. They are the clay in your hands. They are the putty in your hands. And you about to make that shit shake today. Okay? So this is what I'm trying to tell you. So when you get into that law of perpetual transmutation, that right there, bitch, you on the way. Period. You're on the way. Because once law of perpetual transmutation kicks in accordance to your intention, it takes a minute. Okay, it takes a minute for you to hold this intention for the law of perpetual transmutation to catch up. Okay, because you have to go through a few cycles to end out the previous shit that you was in. Once you get here, law of perpetual transmutation states that everything that is in existence is always changing, is always becoming, is always transmuting itself to become anew. When you get into this space right here, when you're in this space, all things come together little by little. Boom, 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 boom. And it takes roughly, I feel like, for law of transmutation to take effect, it takes roughly about 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. But depending on how big your manifestation is, it can take months. Okay. So I need you to really lock in here. Once you get that, it's easy. It's Easy, because you already assumed that identity. You already, you're already on the way to making these subtle shifts. You're already making the moves. You're already in the mindset and the emotional set. You're already created the set points at your first, second, and third step. So now that you have already initiated law of action, when something starts, it doesn't stop unless something stops it. So you're going to continue to move, okay? Law of motion. You're going to be moving, nigga, until something stops you. So you're going to just move. And once you have initiated your law of action, law of transmutation is activated, but not in effect yet. It takes your consistent action for law of perpetual transmutation to catch on in this intention. The reason why I say in this intention is law of perpetual transmutation is always working. It's always working, but it's always working in whatever your dominant vibration is. So until you increase your dominant vibration, until you increase this intention into your dominant vibration, you're manifesting other shit that you don't want. You're becoming something that you don't want to be, right? You're transmuting things from the past so that you can get away from them or to bloom from them. So let's say, for example, like some of us, if you have had a dark past of being a black sheep and you want to start a business, the first thing that you're going to have to do is deal with frustration and anger, and also taking things personally. Okay, that's so big, because you need to be able to take criticism. You need to be able to handle people when they're disrespecting you in a polite yet strict and direct way. You need to be able to do things that don't feel comfortable for you, that feel like it's not safe, and handle it with ease, handle it with grace, handle it in a way where it's not like directly a negative on yourself or your business or yourself and your company or whatever the fuck y'all got going on. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's learning how to speak corporate so that you don't get fired, okay? I want you to understand like how shifting from one spot to another. If you was a hothead, you might have to cool your head down in order to get to where you need to be. And in order to do that, you need to delete what's going on in this dominant vibration that sets you off and puts you on fire, and shift that fire down into your drive, your consistency, and pull that fire down off the top of your head and put it into your solar plexus. And it takes time to develop those skills, okay? And once you develop those skills and it becomes a part of your dominant vibration, then law of oh my God, y'all, I'm trying, but it's a lot to say. Law of perpetual transmutation is going to take you all the way. And what's so great about that is then you start to really move. Now, here's a key indicator that you're about to hit the full manifestation of what you want. You're going to go into a situation or seek something that is literally the exact opposite of what you want. It's going to look like and present like what you want, but it's going to be the exact opposite of what you want underneath the veil. And so it's going to be right next to each other. And that's going to be your last decision. Spirit gives this decision to me as a no return point. So you can either take the thing that looks shiny, pretty, but it is 100% in the energy of the past that you just left behind, the past that you just created everything out of. And then you have the future that you've created based on this dominant vibration that you've been working on for the past few weeks to few months to few years. And you're saying, is this what you really want? Or do you want to go back? And if you choose this right here, you cannot go back, period. It's done. You step into that new timeline altogether. Now, these are timeline shifts. When you're going through timeline shifts and activations, we'll talk about that in another video. This is after you've reached that threshold. When you reach that threshold, you cannot go back. You have assessed and permanently put this intention into your dominant vibration. Law of perpetual transmutation takes effect. Law of cause and effect is now automatic. All things that have now become habit, become custom, become thought, it now all perpetuates on its own without your assistance. It's now ingrained in you. It now is you. And at this point, even though you don't have everything that you want, you fully assume the identity. And now it's only just a matter of time before you get what you want. And you'll start getting those bigger things, little by little by little. But it's not going to be like little bitty things. Like when you first start practicing law of assumption, you're going to get, the parking spot right in the front at the grocery store. You're going to go to the grocery store and maybe the person in front of you is just feeling generous that day and pays for your groceries. You're going to go to a coffee shop, someone pays for your coffee, or the coffee it is, 10% off that day, or you get a free something with it or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But it's extra. So spirit wants you to understand you don't have those little things, but then the bigger things in your manifestation, like being able to afford the car that you want, and then being able to start going and looking and shopping for the car realistically with the money, the down payment in your bank account. Like, I'm ready. That takes time. That's the shift. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that right there is what spirit is saying. Like, pay attention so that you can use what you got and make it shake for you. You can use what you got and make it work more effectively until you get to where you're at, and then you can use that. Like, you're going to go from this place to this place, and once you step into this place, everything takes effect as ease from that point forward. But you need to get here, and getting here is the hardest part. Most people give up on manifesting before they get right here. And I hope you wrote some fucking notes, because today was a masterclass on how to do that shit and how to do it well. Now, the biggest thing that I feel that when you are starting to understand how to live, to work in tandem with universal law, is that it's not easy. Okay? It's not easy until it's easy. So you have to assume the consciousness before you can become the consciousness. What that means is you have to assume the identity of it before you are the identity, before you can be that. And it takes a lot of time for you to get comfortable in that. Not necessarily for you to do it or to be it, but for you to be comfortable in it, because it is going to feel strange. It is going to feel weird. It is going to require you to be a little bit delusional. It is going to require you to not tell in your fucking body. It is going to require you to shut the fuck up and just do that shit. And don't look for outside validation, because you're not going to get it. Okay? Yeah. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Go down in the comments and tell me what you think about what we talked about today. Is this something that you haven't heard before, or the way that I talked about it today? Did you receive some new keys, some new gems to really tap in with it? If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. And guys, if you want to hear about this new offering that I have for y'all, we are going to be offering classes and stuff like that. And if you want to be the first to get into it, please go into my link in bio and click on my Linktree link, or I should have it right at the top for you to tap in and get on my email list so you can be the first to know. I love you guys. On my email list, we will be dropping like cool tips and tricks and stuff that you can use in your spiritual practice. So definitely tap in over there. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope that you continue to rise, that you continue to vibe, that you continue to just be doing your fucking shit every fucking day of the week, because you are amazing and incredible. And I just want to give you like good vibes, and I also just want you to be able to go out here and really execute this life the way that you want to. Because sometimes we just don't have access to what we need. And sometimes access is limited to what we can perceive. And as you are acquiring knowledge, don't forget to use it, because that's where it becomes wisdom. And that's where you really hone in and create something that is original to you. I love you. Stay high, stay vibing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.